I want to thank everyone here for coming, and particularly a number of thank yous to Chair Keller and also members of the Ops Committee for going through a number of alliterations of this document, and to the BART staff, the senior staff, to the General Counsel for their counsel and being open to questions, and to the BART Police Department for being open to questions and providing information about what we do on a daily basis as an agency. So I do have some prepared comments today, and I just want to move through them. I am deeply thankful for the folks who came out today to take time off of work and from their families to speak and to be present to hear this issue. And a special thank you to a number of scholars, literal scholars, who helped me move through this process with Director Josefowicz. Director Josefowicz was the one who introduced this question to the BART board, not me, but it was the right thing to do. So we joined together and trying to figure out with this agency how we might answer the question of what would it mean to actually provide a safe transit system. A special thank you to members of the SEIU, IRLC, the ACLU, and Asian Law Caucus, among others, who sat with me and who read this proposal and made sure that we were again, purporting constitutionalized language as we talk about our fellow BART writers. This policy, as you all see, members of the board, has support from David Chu and Rob Bonta from the California State Assembly, Mayors Libby Schaaf of Oakland, Mayor Ed Lee from San Francisco, Jesse Arguin from Berkeley, and you've also received over a half dozen letters, or you should have, from other members of our elected family in the Bay Area. Many of us who support this policy on this board over the last couple of weeks have been inundated with anti-immigrant animus, so I just need to make sure that folks know. But it's important that we deal with the facts. The National Bureau on Economic Research and the Cato Institute purport that immigrants are among the folks least likely to commit crimes, and are the least likely also to report crime when it is done onto them in fear. The safe transit policy purports by using safety as a lens will be removing the chilling effect that many BART riders have who are fearful of using our system or working with BART police when crime does occur. As BART directors, our highest priority is ensuring safety for our riders. With safe transit, my hope, our hope, is that all riders can feel comfortable when reporting crimes, paying fines, and interacting with law enforcement without risk to themselves or their families. We are all each other's neighbors. And our system is safer when we can all look after one another. Singling out one segment of our ridership puts our system in a hole, and that we break a hole in the safety net, and our goal, again, is to keep our system safe. From our ticket agents to our BART police, this policy purports that they should be worried about keeping our system safe. And not only will this policy deeply express BART's commitments for riders, but this is important in that it also is about preserving the separation of duties and resources of local governments from those of the federal government, so that the federal government does not overreach and is not in the process of undermining the objectives of this agency, providing safe and secure and efficient and clean transit. Today, in addition to this matter, we also talked about budget. And so it's not lost upon us that BART needs to prioritize its resources and its manpowers for the matters of keeping our trains moving. With ridership decreasing from competitors and rideshare outfits, we should be focused solely on improving our system and ensuring that our services meet the needs of the almost 500,000 riders that we have each day. So it's important, before we move to discussion, if I can, Chair Keller, that I talk about briefly undocumented immigrants. The PPIC has reported that there are almost 500,000 undocumented immigrants living in the San Francisco Bay Area. I assert that immigrants are an indispensable part of the Bay Area's construct, and they shape, sustain, and contribute to our region. Immigrants, regardless of their status, have to ride our system. Access to mobility and transit are indeed human rights. And it is important that politics not shape, should not, and cannot shape people's access to mobility, to get to care, to get to school. For the Honduran mother that I talked to, who cleans rooms in downtown San Francisco, who catches BART 4 times each week to meet with her pro bono immigration attorney. To the young Somali sister who wears a hijab, who told me in researching the subject that she fears every single time she sees a BART police officer that she may be taken off the train. We know that this is not true, but I would love to say to them today, we want you to do 2 things. Pay your fare and get to your destination safely, because that is our job. It's important for members of the public and for this BART board and the members of staff to come together to be able to say, as we move forward in the Bay Area, that, again, we care about our riders. And the Bay Area is a dynamic and diverse community. And so every man and woman and child and family, as they come into our stations, they know that we have one sole job. I think it's important for all of us to know that the police policy that exists now is harmful. And thank God we have a police brass that has worked so hard in the last few years to develop 21st century police practices. And shifting policy is extremely important. I also think it's extremely important to know that the civil rights movement in this country erupted, and the center of that movement was because our transit systems across the country were racist. And Jim Crow was the law. Segregating buses and transportation was the law. Banning Chinese folks from Muni was the law, right? And so it is important as we move forward, I don't care who is president, to make sure in the culture of this agency that everyone who pays their ticket and gets on a train understands that our responsibility is to get them there safely. I fully trust, if we pass this resolution, that our Human Resources Department will follow the law. There's nothing in this resolution that says we're not going to ask for Social Security cards and I-9s. We're going to ask for W-2s. We're going to do that work. What it is saying that we will make sure that we're honoring the integrity of the current processes, practices we have now, and actually move in history in a way where we can look back in 20 years and say the Jim Crow of 2017, we actually were courageous enough as an institution to do the right thing. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Hearing no further comments, Madam President, it's back to you with a motion.
And let's vote electronically when it's ready. There we go. Go ahead.
Motion passes 8 yes, 1 no. Director Allen voting no.
Thank you all.